Hi, my name is Wayne, and this is Type Tested. What's in front of me right now is the innards of a Smith-Corona 1959 Skyriter typewriter. Now, this is something of a later era for Smith-Corona, but there are some features about this typewriter I quite like. Number one, it has a really nice feel to it. Number two, it's really designed to be serviceable because after you take the ribbon cover off, which you do just by prying it out, you take two screws off in the back and you can lift the entire typewriter out of the body. And that's as far as you need to go for most jobs that you're going to do. I also really like this full-size return arm here as opposed to the stubby ones that you usually find on these. I think that adds a great deal of functionality to this typewriter, and combined with the way it feels, this may be my new favorite slim portable. Now, I use the term slim because ultra is just cliche, and it's not something I care for. But slim portable, ultra portable, whatever you want to call it, that's what this is. I've been going through cleaning this up, and I'm just about done with the internals here. I still have to clean the body panels, but there's one job I need to do still, and that is to clean off the type slugs. However, that will be easier when the typerest is in place. But this typerest has seen better days, and you can see that there are some indentions in here that are quite deep. Now, it doesn't interfere with the functionality of the typewriter at all, but it does mean that things don't sit in a quite nice uniform arc that I like to see. Also, it's a little bit loose. So I am going to refresh this by taking this felt and turning it over so that this worn bit here is on the bottom and I have fresh felt on top. Now, this is not a terribly difficult job, but it does require having to get this off without tearing the felt, and sometimes that can be a little interesting. It also kind of depends on what the manufacturer did to put it on. Sometimes you find that there are little barbs trying to hold it on, and if you're not careful, you can pull it right through one of them. So let's go ahead and gently get this off. And then I'm going to lightly clean the typerest. It doesn't need to be anything extensive done here. I'm just going to glue over the top of it. What I want to do, I just want to make sure there's no loose stuff on here so that I can get as good a bond as I can. So there. Now, the glues here that were used, if you can't pry it off as easily as I just did, there's also the option of wetting the felt down and putting it in, or steaming the felt off, or lightly wetting the felt down and then putting it in something like a toaster oven for a few minutes, enough to get it hot, and then the steam will tend to reactivate the glue and loosen it up. So if you can't just pry it off, that's a good way to take care of this. So now, what's going to happen is that this is going to go on this way. Now, it may not look quite right, but that's fine. Looks aren't as important as function here. So let me get my contact cement, push this typewriter back a little bit just so it's not going to be getting covered in glue. And I'm going to be kind of generous in the application here. Now, the same on the typerest itself. The idea here is to allow the contact cement to soak in just a little bit so that it can bind into the fibers of the typerest and not just on the surface. Okay, now you can put this on wet, but I'm going to choose to put it on dry. So I am going to pause here now while I let the rubber cement here dry up, and then I will put it back on and remount the Typerest, and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, now this has had a chance to dry. Let's go ahead and set it in here gently. The camera a bit so I have more room to see. Make sure I get it roughly centered. And once I get it where I want it, then I can press it down. So you can see I've got a little off on this side and a little off on this side. That should be a nice, even distribution. Let me go find my screws here. Should be those two. Head and bring this back up here. Go ahead and get these type bars up. Usually easier to start with the middle and then go to the outside, if you can manage to hold everything. That's back there. Okay. This side in. Make sure everything sits right. Tighten it down firmly. Release the type bars. And now, I have a nice smooth arc, save for one here, which is probably on a high spot of the felt. But this looks a lot better than it did when I first started working on this typewriter. So now what I need to do is I need to go back and start scrubbing out these type bars. And you can see the slugs here are fairly filthy. Let me turn this around so you get a better view. But they're not bad. You can see this is Elite 66. That's what that number means there. And that, I assume, is a foundry mark. Anyway, that's really all I wanted to show today. Just dealing with a Typerest and doing so without having to actually replace the felt. And this is going to be common, and I couldn't have replaced this if I wanted to because I don't have anything that thick. So that's what we're doing today. Just refurbishing the Typerest by flipping over the felt, giving it a nice flat surface so that everything will look nice and neat and pretty, and that this will be good for another 50 years. That's all I want to show today. Once again, my name is Wayne, and this is Type Tested.